In the great annals of Rome you will find pages filled with conquest and emperors, with triumphs etched in marble and blood. But between those lines, there lie the stories Rome wished to forget. Stories not of victory, but of hearts undone. I am but a keeper of such fragments, a collector of whispers carried through the centuries. Tonight I bring you one of the most tragic, the tale of a soldier who bled for the empire, and of a woman bound by chains more cruel than iron. Their names were Marcus Valerius and Cassia Marcellus. To some, forgotten lovers. To others, a warning. To me, they are the rose of Rome. So come, walk with me through the marble halls, smell the torches that burned in the night. For it was there, beneath the weight of empire, that love bloomed where it never should have, and paid the price that Rome always demands. In the heart of ancient Rome, beneath marble arches and streets where sandals struck like thunder upon stone, a love was born where it never should have been. Her name was Cassia Aurelia, daughter of a senator whose words carried weight in the Senate and whose fortune dripped like gold from every corner of his estate. From birth she was bound to duty, promised not to a man she loved, but to one who would strengthen her father's power. Yet fate, ever merciless, set her path across that of Marcus Valerius. Marcus was no noble, he was a gladiator, a man who had tasted both the roar of the crowd and the bitterness of chains. Scarred by battles in the Colosseum, he had earned his freedom with blood, yet Rome never let him forget what he had been. Their worlds were meant to remain apart, one of silk, the other of steel. But love, when it chooses its victims, cares nothing for laws or lineage. It began in the gardens of the Aurelia estate, where fountains whispered and moonlight bathed marble statues in silver. Cassia would wander there at night, seeking escape from her gilded prison. And it was there, under cypress trees older than memory, that she first saw him. Marcus had been hired by her father's guard, a soldier brought not for trust, but for strength. He stood apart from the others, silent, his eyes deep as the Tiber at dusk. Cassia paused. Their eyes met, and though not a word passed between them that night, something far more dangerous was spoken in silence. This was the moment Rome itself should have trembled, for no empire, no Senate decree, no father's will could chain what was about to unfold. Days turned into weeks, and the garden became their sanctuary. At first it was stolen glances, brief exchanges when Cassia passed by with her maids, her eyes betraying what her lips dared not say. Marcus, though hardened by war and chains, felt his resolve falter under her gaze. One evening, as the cicadas sang their eternal hymn, Cassia lingered after her maids had gone. The fountain murmured softly, the marble nymphs gazing on as if guarding a secret. "Why do you always stand apart?" she asked, her voice trembling, though she hid it well. Marcus lowered his eyes. "Because Rome does not forgive men like me for looking too high." She stepped closer, her gown brushing against the stones. "And yet you look at me as though you would defy Rome itself." He met her gaze then, and for the first time he did not look away. From that night forward, words replaced silence, whispers hidden beneath moonlight, laughter hushed by fear, hands brushing like lightning, striking in the dark. They believed their love was a secret. But Rome has many eyes, and the walls of great houses have a way of listening. Cassia's father, the senator, had promised her to Lucius Marcellus, a man of wealth, cruelty and ambition. Lucius was Rome in its purest form, cold, calculating, merciless. To him Cassia was not a bride, but an ornament, a jewel to display, a means to power. But he began to notice the softness in her step, the light in her eyes when Marcus entered the hall, the way silence thickened when they stood too near. Suspicion is a poison that once swallowed never leaves the blood. And so the trap was set. Lucius Marcellus was not a man given to patience. When suspicion touched his mind, it did not fade. It grew like ivy strangling a column. One night he summoned a trusted servant, a man who knew how to listen without being seen, a man whose loyalty could be bought with coin or blood. "Watch her," Lucius said. "Follow her every step. If she strays, if she lingers where she should not, bring me word, bring me proof." And proof soon came. The servant spoke of the gardens, of the soldier who lingered too long by the fountain, of a noble lady who returned later than her maids, of whispers, too soft to be prayer. Lucius did not rage. No, he smiled. For in Rome, fury was less powerful than patience. Meanwhile, Cassia and Marcus lived their brief moments of joy as though they were eternal. To them, the world beyond the garden walls had vanished. "Would you leave it all?" Marcus once asked, his voice hushed as he held her hand beneath the cypress shadows. Cassia's eyes glistened. "For you, I would leave Rome itself. What is marble? What is power, if the heart lies empty?" Marcus kissed her then, trembling, as though even the stars might bear witness to their treason. But the stars, it seemed, did not keep secrets. In the days of the Republic, betrayal was punished with exile. But in the days of empire, betrayal was punished with blood. Lucius bided his time, and when the moment was ripe, he struck. The banquet hall of Lucius Marcellus glittered with wealth. Bronze lamps cast golden light across polished marble. Nobles reclined on couches, their voices thick with wine, their laughter echoing beneath vaulted ceilings. And there, summoned under false pretense, stood Marcus Valerius. The soldier, dressed in his humble tunic, his head bowed in respect. He did not know why he had been called, only that his commander had ordered it. At Lucius's side sat Cassia, her face pale, her fingers clenched white around a goblet she did not drink from. Her eyes, those eyes Marcus had once thought would shield him from all sorrow, dared not rise to meet his. Lucius lifted his cup, smiling. "To loyalty," he declared, "to honour. To the bonds that bind Rome together." The guests cheered, unknowing, uncaring. But then Lucius turned his gaze to Marcus, cold, calculating. "Tell me, soldier," he said, his tone smooth as oil. "What gift would a man most crave if he had already stolen what was mine?" The hall fell silent. Marcus's breath caught in his throat. He knew then that the hour of reckoning had come. Lucius rose, his voice thundering. "You dare touch what belongs to me!" He struck the goblet from Cassia's trembling hands, crimson wine spilling like blood across the marble floor. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Nobles leaned forward, eager for scandal, hungry for ruin. Cassia cried out, falling to her knees. "Please, if fault there is, let it rest upon me." But Lucius did not look at her. His eyes burned only for Marcus. "You will die as a traitor," he spat, "and she will learn what it means to live as my prisoner." Two guards stepped forward, spears levelled. Marcus did not resist. His fists clenched, but his His eyes sought Cassia's one last time, a look of love, a look of farewell, and in that glance lived more truth than all the lies of Rome. The Forum stood restless beneath the dying sun. Crowds pressed against the stone steps, eager for blood, eager for spectacle. For Rome, after all, fed on two hungers, glory and ruin. Marcus Valerius was led forth in chains. The soldier who had once bled for the empire now stood condemned, his tunic torn, his face bruised. Yet his head was high, and his eyes, defiant, still burned with the memory of a woman's love. Cassia was there too, veiled in black, hidden among the crowd. Her heart pounded with every step he took. She had begged Lucius in secret, on her knees, to spare Marcus. But Lucius's heart was a fortress of stone, and no tear could breach it. Ah, how cruelly the gods amuse themselves! They let mortals believe love can triumph, only to sharpen the knife of fate. The sentence was read aloud. Marcus Valerius, traitor to Lucius Marcellus, would die by the sword, before the eyes of Rome. The executioner stepped forward, his blade gleaming. But Marcus did not kneel. He turned, his voice rising, strong, unbroken. I betrayed no city, no emperor. My crime was love. And if love is treason, then may all Rome bear the guilt with me. Gasps echoed. Murmurs swelled. Some faces turned away, ashamed. Others, entranced, could not. Cassia could bear no more. She tore back her veil, her voice breaking like glass. Then strike me first. For my heart was his long before Lucius claimed it. The crowd erupted, shouts, cries, confusion. Lucius, pale with fury, surged to his feet. Seize her, he roared. But it was too late. Marcus, with the last strength of a soldier, wrenched free of his guards. In one swift motion he seized the executioner's blade and turned it inward. The steel found his chest. A crimson bloom spread across his tunic as he fell, and in the chaos Cassia ran to him, cradling his broken body against her gown. His lips moved faintly, the last whisper of a dying man. In another life, Cassia, another Rome. And then silence. The crowd hushed, as though the very stones of the Forum wept. Cassia pressed her face to his, her cries echoing against the pillars of empire. The rose of Rome had bloomed, only to be crushed beneath the heel of fate.